Hello and welcome to the ACED podcast, where we turn science into sense. This is the lucky 13th season of ACED, and we could not be more proud to deliver the rich scientific content to you in a usable and understandable way. ACED is brought to you via the Justice Community Overdose Innovation Network, or JCOIN. If you're new to ACED, welcome, and check out the prior seasons to begin or continue your learning journey. We are exceptionally grateful for every listener, and we promise we will continue working to help you learn and never let you down. Also, a quick plug for a few other JCOIN features. Did you know that you can get technical assistance for your organization from the experts at JCOIN? And did you know you can apply for small research grants to help fund an innovative study idea? Yep, also through JCOIN. And did you know you can apply to be a JCOIN Leap Scholar or investigator to improve your own skills? Also through JCOIN. If any or all of these exciting offerings sound interesting to you, check out our website, www.jcoin-ctc.org, and learn about the many JCOIN offerings beyond ACED that may help you learn and grow in ways that improve lives, including your own. With that, I'm honored that you're with us. I'm Danielle Rudes, your host, and this is ACED. And here we are. It is season 13, episode 7, on psychedelic-assisted therapy of the ACED podcast. This season is titled Evolving Responses to Opioid Use Disorder and Overdose. And in this season, we're examining the shift in prevention, treatment, and recovery strategies in response to the ongoing opioid and overdose crisis in the United States and beyond. From emerging clinical approaches to peer-led efforts, we're highlighting the many ways individuals and systems are adapting to save lives and support recovery. Today, we're turning to a topic that has been generating a lot of buzz in recent years: psychedelic-assisted therapies for substance use addiction. Traditional treatments like methadone and buprenorphine have saved lives, but they don't work for everyone. Many people relapse, disengage, or find these medications don't meet their needs. According to Argento and colleagues, 2019, that reality has created space for researchers to revisit psychedelic-assisted therapy as a potential new approach. According to Zafar and colleagues, 2023, psychedelics have surprisingly long connection to addiction treatment. In fact, one of the earliest accounts comes from 1934, when Bill Wilson, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, described having a profound spiritual awakening during an experimental treatment with plant-based psychedelics. He later reflected on LSD as a tool that could help people gain insight into themselves and their recovery journey. During the mid-20th century, researchers conducted more than 1,000 studies involving over 40,000 patients. Many of them focused on psychiatric disorders and addiction. Much of this early work explored LSD as a treatment option. Today, interest is resurging, with studies exploring psilocybin, LSD, ketamine, ibogaine, ayahuasca, MDMA, and other substances for their potential role in treating addiction. The evidence base for psychedelic-assisted therapy is still young, but what's emerged so far is compelling. At the population level, a large U.S. survey of more than 44,000 people conducted by Bassano and colleagues 2017 found that those who had used psychedelics were significantly less likely to develop opioid use problems, showing a 40% lower risk of abuse and a 27% lower risk of dependence over the past year. This broad association suggests that psychedelic use may be protective against some of the risks tied to opioids. Smaller clinical studies and reviews offer more detail on how these substances might help people struggling with addiction. For instance, in a study conducted by Dos Santos and colleagues 2016, the authors showed that people who received high-dose LSD or ketamine therapy for heroin use achieved higher rates of abstinence than those in control groups, and these benefits often persisted at long-term follow-up. And research conducted by Argento and colleagues 2022 found that people who had recently used psychedelics outside of formal trials were less likely to use opioids daily, adding weight to the idea that the benefits may extend beyond strictly clinical settings. Ibogaine, and a psychedelic plant-derived compound with a long history of African healing traditions, has also shown striking results. In one study conducted by Brown and Alper in 2018, participants who had not responded to other treatments reported significant relief from withdrawal symptoms and meaningful reductions in drug use after a single ibogaine session. Other research team, Noller and colleagues in New Zealand, found similar results over the long term. One treatment was often enough to help people maintain reduced use or even stop altogether for up to a year. And many participants described the experience itself as profoundly insightful, helping them reframe their relationship to drugs and to life. Other substances are also showing promise. Case reports of ketamine-assisted psychotherapy suggest that ketamine can complement established approaches like 12-step programs. In Petrovich and colleagues' 2025 study, one patient described the psychedelic experience as deepening her spirituality, renewing her commitment to recovery, and repairing broken relationships. And according to Zafar and colleagues' 2023, research on psilocybin, ayahuasca, mescaline, 5-MeO-DMT, and MDMA is earlier stage, but initial findings point to improvements in both alcohol and drug use disorders. For example, in a proof of concept trial, people with alcohol use disorder tolerated MDMA well and showed sharp reductions in drinking months after detoxification. Taken together, these studies, ranging from population surveys to controlled trials and naturalistic observations, paint a consistent picture. Psychedelic-assisted treatment therapy may reduce substance use, ease withdrawal, and create opportunities for the kinds of psychological breakthroughs that support long-term recovery. Okay, so that's all great news. But even with the excitement around psychedelic-assisted therapy, researchers and clinicians are careful to point out the challenges that come with moving these treatments into practice. Safety and regulation are at the top of the list. Reviews of psilocybin, for example, suggests that while it does carry some potential for abuse, the risks are manageable when treatment is considered under medical supervision. Experts argue that if psilocybin were ever approved as a medicine, it would likely be scheduled as a lower-risk substance, perhaps in Schedule 4, which reflects its therapeutic potential alongside a relatively low likelihood of harm. Another key consideration is how to integrate psychedelic therapy into existing systems of care. Evidence suggests these substances are not standalone cures. Rather, they seem to work best when paired with psychotherapy, peer support, or structured recovery approaches. For instance, in the case of ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, the benefits were most visible when the psychedelic sessions were combined with ongoing counseling and, in some cases, 12-step program involvement. Patients often describe the psychedelic experience as reinforcing their commitment to change while giving them back tools to connect with existing recovery pathways. Finally, there's the question of evidence. While the early findings are promising, much of the research to date has been small in scale or observational in nature. Reviews emphasize that the strongest and most consistent data are for LSD and ketamine in the treatment of alcohol use disorder. But results for opioids, ibogaine, and MDMA are still preliminary. Larger, more rigorous trials are needed to confirm these benefits and to test the mechanisms of how these therapies actually work. So, while the science is moving quickly, it is still in the early days. Don't get too excited just yet. Psychedelic-assisted therapy may hold enormous promise, but realizing that potential will require careful regulation, thoughtful integration with existing treatment systems, and a commitment to building a stronger, more robust evidence base. So where does that leave us? Psychedelic-assisted therapy is not a silver bullet. It may represent an important new frontier in addiction treatment, however. The research shows potential for reducing opioid use, easing withdrawal, and creating profound psychological insights that support recovery. While the field is still developing, it's clear that psychedelic-assisted therapy is moving from the fringes into the mainstream scientific discussion. As clinical trials expand and regulatory frameworks adapt, this approach could reshape how we think about and treat addiction in the years to come. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time on Aced It. Thank you for listening to the Aced It podcast. We love hearing from you. So if you have comments, topics to suggest, or some science you'd like us to cover in a future season, please write me. Danielle Roods at Sam Houston State University in Texas. My email is droods@shsu.edu. And of course, thank you to the Justice Community Overdose Innovation Network, or JCOIN's Coordination and Translation Center, funded by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, housed at George Mason University, where this podcast originated. Thank you to our fabulous and amazing scriptwriters, and also my fabulous and amazing doctoral students, Bryce Kushmarek-McCune, Jalen Magana, and Caitlin Bauer. And a huge and heartfelt thank you to the team at Slonky LLC for their wonderful production as always. Tune in again soon for another episode and even a whole nother season of Aced It.